And then from the second chapter, Sukadeva Goswami begins to discuss. And then he discussed Canto, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, glories of bhakti, how bhakti is wonderful and better than Gyan and other things. And toward the end of third chapter, which we were discussing until yesterday, where at the end of 13th chapter, Sutta Goswami, Shaunak Rishi is asking Sutta Goswami, can you please tell me what are the questions Parikshit Maharaj asked further? Please tell me that. So there is again further discussion happened, and then he says Hari Katha is so wonderful that, and those who are not hearing Hari Katha, they are actually wasting their life. Ayur Haranti Vai Pumsam. And then he says that this life without hearing Krishna Katha, the ear holes, tongues, and those are things and those discussed. And then that ends the steel framed heart 23rd shloka of the third chapter. And then the last we discussed, and then finally comes to the fourth chapter. Now in the fourth chapter, now Sutta Goswami begins to answer that what Parikshit Maharaj did further. The question was asked by Shaunak Rishi, and that's the first text we discussed yesterday. I hope it is okay so far what we had this. And yesterday, this was the first sloka that we discussed, that Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, then what he did, he focused his concentration completely on Lord Sri Krishna. And now the lecture that we are hearing from His Holiness Rampat Swami Maharaj, it is from text 2 to text 4. So we'll just quickly go through what is the text 2, 3, 4 translation. आत्मजाया सुतागार पशु द्रवी पशु द्रवीण बंधुषु राज्य चावि कले नित्यम विरूढ़ ममता जहो. So Parikshit Maharaj gave all this mamata, affection, attraction, jaho, give up. For whom? For what? Atma, Jaya, Suta, Agara, Pashu, Bandhushu, Rajya, everything he gave up. So translation, Maharaj Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Sri Krishna, which was the previous shloka, was able to give up all deep rooted affection for his personal body, Atma, Jaya, Suta, Agara, palace, Pashu, his animals like horses and elephants, Dravina, treasury, Bandhu, his friends and relatives, and Rajya, the kingdom. So he gave up all his affection and attraction. Mamatam Jaho. And then the next is the combination of sloka number 3 and 4, where he's saying, Sutta Goswami is saying that similar question were asked by Parikshit Maharaj. Prapascham cha imam evartham yanma prupachcha sattamaha krishnanubhava sravane sraddadhano mahamana. संस्थाविज्ञाय संन्यास कर्म त्रैवर्गिकं च एत वासुदेवे भगवती आत्मभावं दृढ़ गताः. O great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Sri Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely Traivairgikam. Traivairgikam means Dharma, Artha, and Kama, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. So Sutta Goswami is saying that the same questions were asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami, and then so that would come a couple of shlokas from here, and he would ask now about the creation. So the fourth chapter is about creation. So now we will hear from His Holiness Rampat Swami Maharaj. Sorry.
what Maharaj Parikshit did.
Is it audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
After hearing from Shukadeva Goswami, and he got the answer to his questions, what did he do? Yeah, that was the verse. The first verse of chapter 4. This is the qualifications of Maharaj Parikshit as a listener, kind of a continuation of that same understanding from Canto 1. There's a series of exchanges between a speaker and the listener, and the qualifications of both must be there for the full effect of the transcendental life to ignite. Qualified speaker, qualified listener. Maharaj Parikshit has the qualifications. And his qualification, first step was having heard about the process of achieving perfection. He applied that process by fixing his mind upon the personality of God. We heard some details about that. In the course of his life, he had a whole series of opportunities of benefit, and he not just had an opportunity, but he fully took advantage of each one, and now this final complete detachment. I mean, it's death. It's certain 7 days more and finished death notice. So then he approached the qualified person, Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami came to him, and he submitted the proper question, fixed his mind upon the personality of Godhead in this spirit of complete detachment from all temporary things. So there's these series of receiving mercy, applying that mercy, receiving more mercy, applying that mercy, receiving more mercy, applying that mercy, continuing to the stage of perfection. That's what we're hearing about Maharaj Parikshit in text 1. We also heard some description of how he was perfectly chaste. He had no other shelter but Krishna. So now in these next verses, we're going to hear more about, because of what he did in text number 1, he fixed his mind upon Krishna. That gave him the strength to be completely detached from any sense of worldliness, any other shelter. And the relevance for us is that opportunity will also come our way. At least for sure, all at once, everything's going to be taken. So Krishna's kind, and he may help us to go steps down the path of little bit at a time, becoming detached from worldliness, so that on the strength of our attachment to him. But the first is this chaste, his mind being completely, he was already, we heard, from the still within the womb of his mother, he saw the personality of Godhead, and he stayed with that experience his whole life, absorbed. He became king, absorbed. He heard stories about the Pandavas, his grandparents, along with their relationship with Krishna, and further absorbed his mind. Now comes this death notice, detachment from all things, hearing from Shukadeva Goswami, further detachment, further absorption, just dedication, complete dedication to the personality of Godhead. So that's text 1. Then text 2, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, now we're going to hear about detachment. From attachment to Krishna comes detachment from the rest. Bhakti Parishana Bhavo Viraktir Anyatra Cha. We're going to hear about the Viraktir Anyatra Cha part. Detachment from the rest. Maharaj Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, was able to give up all deep-rooted affection for his personal body, his wife, his children, his palace, his animals like horses and elephants, his treasury house, his friends and relatives, and his undisputed kingdom. Viraktir Anyatra Cha is not going to happen unless there's deep-rooted, wholehearted attraction for Krishna. So, wholehearted attraction from this wholehearted attraction for Krishna, or attachment to Krishna, comes as a result of hearing and chanting, and through hearing and chanting, anartha-nivritti, unwanted things in the heart, subtle things in the heart, are eliminated, leaving just the one thing: shelter in Krishna. In Prabhupada's purport he writes, to become liberated means to become free from dehatma buddhi. Deha, atma buddhi, thinking of the deha to be atma, the body to be the self. Dehatma buddhi, the intelligence that says I am this body, false ego, identification with the body. The illusory attachment for personal bodily coverings and everything connected with the body. So this is I and mine. This has been discussed earlier in this chapter, or in this canto. The I and mine of material consciousness is I am this body, so what is mine is things in relation to this body, and one is identifying on that platform. This is the material conception. I often speak of the spiritual conception. The spiritual conception is, stated negatively, it's not those things. And stated positively, it's I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. And that's who I am, and nothing is mine. But the service that I have for Krishna, my relationship with Krishna is what I have. And with my relationship with Krishna, everything is fair game for service to Krishna. That's like, the good and the bad in the mix, and whatever is there, it's an opportunity for service to Krishna, based on a spiritual conception. Wherever we are, it's an opportunity for service to Krishna. There's detachment from, it's got to be like this so I can be happy. It can't be like that because I'll be unhappy. It's whatever it is. And through the course of devotional service, spiritual influence is brought to the situation so it becomes more pleasing to Krishna, because that's what we're interested in the spiritual conception. So, specifically mentioned are, in conjunction with the bodily conception, is household paraphernalia. Maharaj Parikshit was a householder. It's not beating up on householders. He's just a householder. And householders have paraphernalia. Yeah. The next sentence. So it starts with, one selects a wife for bodily comforts. And the result is children. For wife and children, one requires a dwelling place. And as such, a residential house is also necessary. Animals. Horses, he puts elephants in the list. Cows and dogs are all household animals. And a householder has to keep them as household paraphernalia. In modern civilization, the horses and elephants have been replaced by cars and conveyance with considerable horsepower. To maintain all the household affairs, one has to increase the bank balance and be careful about the treasury house. And in order to display opulence of material assets, one has to keep good relations with friends and relatives, as well as become very careful about maintaining the status quo. Very important. Have to maintain the status quo. Very important. This is called material civilization of material attachment. Devotion for Lord Krishna means negation of all material attachments as detailed above. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit was awarded all material amenities and an undisputed kingdom, and wished to enjoy the undisputed position of a king. But by the grace of the Lord, he was able to give up all connection with material attachment. That is the position of a pure devotee. So, it's like a storybook kind of a thing. Perhaps it's something out there in fairyland and really doesn't apply to me because I don't have to become detached. I'll just become a pure devotee and stay attached. But it doesn't work that way. The process, so nice. Prabhupada's purport is so nice. So he describes in the purport that either by the process of training or learning how to turn everything into the service of the Lord, or by force, one is taken away all material connections, either way, by force of circumstance, or by training and understanding and application of that training. And the message of the purport is, here we come again with this message of the mood of service, but it's right explicitly in the purport. Maharaj Parikshit had all this stuff, and while he was king, although he had all this stuff, he wasn't attached. And how was that possible? Because of his mood of service. He employed, as a responsible king, his fantastic treasury, his great physical prowess, his fame. These are opulences. And he employed them all in service to Krishna. And all the paraphernalia of his household, he didn't consider it as his own, but it was surrendered entirely to the service of the Lord. The message here is, this mood of service it's like a link, or it's an agent to manifest attachment to the Supreme and thereby detachment of things. because the identity becomes, instead of I'm his body, the identity becomes I'm Krishna's eternal servant. The body is there as an instrument of service. The paraphernalia that is around me is objects for service. Whatever subtle capacity I have, whatever grosser physical capacity I have, thank you, Krishna, it's an opportunity for serving you. In the mood of service, it facilitates in our lifetime detachment, so that when stuff is taken away at the time of death, it's not, nothing. It's, thank you, Krishna. This is now an opportunity that just on the spiritual platform I can continue to serve you. Whatever facility there is. The mood of service converts both subtle assets and gross assets into opportunities for service to Krishna, because behind them is the spiritual conception. I just want to serve Krishna. My real identity is not this body. My real identity is a tiny spiritual spark. So we hear the philosophy again and again, but are we applying it? Are we applying it? I know that already, but what's next? I want to go higher. Without the core teaching, which Prabhupada very kindly instructed again and again, and that's the training part, the instructions again and again, and what made Maharaj Parikshit qualified was he applied what he heard again and again, so he could go further and go more deeply. And then also the circumstances of life help us to become detached from worldly things and become more attached to Krishna. Circumstances.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Apologize that just past 5 more minutes extra than what we are supposed to do that. Because initially we had 8 minutes of extra discussion, so I thought we can compensate that by having that. So that makes we have 4 more minutes to discuss. So any devotees want to share what we heard today? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Okay. Anybody would like to share what we heard discussed, I mean, what we heard from His Holiness from Pasal Maharaj?
Yes, Prabhuji. One point which Maharaj was constantly telling that we have to do it step by step, so that cultivation can be done both for detachment and attachment. For attachment, it is through hearing and chanting, and then for detachment, we have to understand, and then we have to cultivate it. So that was like very palatable. Yeah.
Yes, bro, thank you. So Maharaj was mentioning that if we cultivate that, as you said, practice, then when the time comes, when everything will be taken, Maharaj was dramatizing that things, saying that, oh, it will be taken at the end. But yeah, if the life is dedicated as a matter of service to Lord Sri Krishna and Krishna's devotees, so we will not be in a condition that when everything will be taken on. So, thank you, bro. Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Lavanya Mataji. Yes, please, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, here Maharaj many times mentioned fix our mind upon Krishna is very important. So Parikshit Maharaj, last 7 days, he fixed his mind upon Krishna, detached from material things. So through here, how we can cultivate that thing through the service, we can attach to Krishna and detach from material things, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So if you see that Maharaj was mentioning again and again that he was able to focus because his whole life was actually dedicated. From the birth, he was actually devotee, and then he heard about Krishna, Pandavas, and then he absorbed his mind. Again, he absorbed his mind. Maharaj repeated, he absorbed his mind, he absorbed his mind. And when he was cursed, he got the opportunity to give up everything. And that is the second shloka of this chapter where he could give up everything because the translation and Prabhupada says, Prabhupada and Maharaj repeat that, because he had such a deep attraction for Lord Sri Krishna. So it is the life of a dedicated service to Krishna by hearing, and for us, Maharaj said the application is hearing and chanting. Thank you, Mataji. We have 1 more minute. If anybody would like to share something, or maybe I will request Shamkun Prabhu if you are there. You want to say something?
Prabhuji, it is still 7:10, I think, no? Daily.
Prabhu is not here.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. As per, if I remember correctly, 6:50 stops and 7 o'clock discussion is. So we overshoot sometime. That's a different story. But ideal time is still 7 o'clock. I mean the not ideal, stipulated time is 7 o'clock.
Okay. In that group message, it was
Is
put
it?
7:10. So I
Oh,
was just thinking.
I remember the first time when I heard that it was a 7 o'clock. No problem.
Okay.
7 or
Okay.
7.
Yeah.
Does not matter.
Yeah, but nowadays we are going till 7:15 as stipulated time. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Ashok Prabhu.
No. As we are going till 7:15, Prabhu. So for the last 4-5 weeks, yeah. Okay. Prabhu, here I have one question. Kind of, yeah. This is a common question which we had.
Your voice is not clear, Ashok Prabhu.
Okay. Can you hear me, Prabhu, now?
I mean, it is audible, but there is not clarity. At least I'm not able to hear. If I mean others can hear.
Same thing, Prabhu.
Okay, Pranvala Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah, I'm working from other.
Ravana Mataji's is clear, but yours is not clear.
Yes, Prabhu. No, actually, the question is, even as we know that Parikshit Maharaj is devotee from the childhood, like since from home itself. But in the last 7 days, like when he knows the news, so he's dying, he's going to die because of the snake. Then he asked the sages, so is it because actually we need to approach Guru? So what is best for us to approach at the last stage? And he asked no. So even though he knows everything, it is ultimate and what we have to do, then on what basis he has decided to hear and sit and hear? Is it because of to give an example, all of us, or how can we understand, Prabhu, this one?
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Good question. Anybody would like to answer Prabhu's question? Is that how do we understand that he's asking question? What type of questions we are supposed to ask? And so that's the question Prabhu asked. Anybody would like to share some thought here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
We find the same thing in Sanatana Goswami was very, very learned. But when he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asked, who am I? What is my position and what should I do? Basic questions, not that he had not read widely, and he was a very learned scholar, and we come to know of it. But then he did ask. So it is one thing, it is the humility from their part that they do not think that I know everything. they think that it should come from somebody when we are in a very dire situations, when we have to make great decisions, that this is a life or death situation. But there are also in our lives also smaller things come, the adversities come. Then the best approach is to follow the footsteps of Parikshit Maharaj or the other acharyas and ask for advice. So maybe to set an example to others how to give up his body. And his questions were so profound. And Srimad Bhagavatam was to come. It appeared as a result of his questions. So that was also decided by Paramatma, what questions he asked and how it will evolve. But in a way, he is exemplifying what we should do. That's what I feel.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Ashok Prabhu, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhu. So basically, my question was actually, once after he approached Sukadeva Goswami, he asked those questions. But initially, when he's dying, at that time, he approached the sages. Then, okay, what should I do this 1 week? What is the best approach? Then they suggested, no, okay, so it is better to hear from Sukadeva Goswami, that Bhagavad, whatever he wants to tell. So that time, Sukadeva Goswami appeared, right? Not time Sharanya. Yeah. So that was actually, so even though he knows what is the best I can do, but why he asked actually this one I
Yeah,
asked.
and I think that's what Mataji answered that. Oh, sorry, Pranolla Prabhu, please go ahead.
Please go ahead, Prabhu. First, you close. Go ahead.
No, I was just summarizing what Mataji said, so it is just repeating. You please go ahead.
Yeah, Mataji clearly explained, Prabhu. I just wanted to add, even though he knows he's a devotee of the Lord from the beginning, he wanted to hear again he's asking all the questions for the welfare of the society, for the entire kingdom. So for all of us. And even Arjuna, if you consider Arjuna, he is a devotee of the Lord, right? He is very dear to the Lord, but he himself become bewildered by all these things. He's acting like that to teach us how to behave. So that Krishna can teach Bhagavad Gita. Here also, Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions to Sukadeva Goswami to teach Bhagavatam to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mataji. I understood that actually. But I wanted to again clarify them.
Yes, I think thanks to Mataji and Pranolla Prabhu that yeah. Had he not been in that situation, that he would have not renounced everything, Atma, Dara, Grihas, Vitteshu, Rajya, everything he actually gave up immediately without any things. So that means and that is where the purport and the translation says that he was so attached. Maharaj mentioned in the beginning, he was so attached to Krishna, it was easy for him to get detached. So it was not that he was not a devotee, and only by hearing that. So it is just for the matter of benefit for the society, and that is the nature of devotee, that what I can do for the benefit of the society. And that is the sages, they are doing the 1000 years of sacrifice at the Naimisharanya for the benefit of the society. And the sages are asking question. So, and that is where the scenario happened at the bank of Ganges, where Parikshit Maharaj and all the sages came there, and he asked questions to Sukadeva Goswami for the matter of that. And he knows what is the ultimate things to be done, which is hearing, chanting, and that is what Sukadeva Goswami summarized, that the ultimate purpose of everything is that Srunanti Gayanti Sadhava. That comes in the 2.1 fifth shloka. He says, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Srotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Ichyata Abhayam. So by Srotavya, Kirtitavya and Smartavya, and that is what he summarized for the benefit of the people, and Parikshit Maharaj is doing that. Okay, so 8 minutes past 7 o'clock, so we'll pause here. We'll continue to hear 2.4.234 from His Holiness Rinpoche Maharaj tomorrow. And then we'll see. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Rinpoche Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanand.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I don't know who is the host today. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Have a nice day.
Hare Krishna.